Oh, there it is. I was going to say for a second there, Matt, I never got recording. You're being recorded.
That's because it
Hi,
just doesn't.
G. Let's wave to G, who's remoting in, I'm sure, to
Oh,
watch Market Vitals.
G's been busy remoting into the Davos remote
Yes, Matt. Yes.
slideshow today. He was the first guest, Professor Kami Klaus Schwab. He was the first guest today. He introduced him.
Listen to me. They don't even do communism a justice at World Economic Forum. Let's just make that perfectly clear. All right. If Brett King is a techno-socialist, right? The World Economic Forum is, let's call him, what do we call him? Techno-fascists?
Yeah, for sure. Techno-fascism.
Techno-fascism.
Yeah.
We will own nothing and like it.
Yeah.
We will keep
it sounds
tabs.
great. It really sounds fun.
Techno-fascism, not techno-fascism.
You will be quarantined and contained and love it. Just like a bad vacation.
Dude, how about the pictures of the busloads of people? They're trying so hard to control this virus in China so they can, all the money that they spent to put on the Winter Olympics can go through. Wow.
Good luck. I'm honestly, let's talk about that a little bit. I was thinking about that over the weekend. There's been no talk publicly about the Olympics. It's a super spreader event. You've got people coming from how many countries? Hundreds, 200 countries, let's say, to Beijing, all for 20 days and 20 days plus with the trainers.
What a great way to release the next virus.
I mean, right?
Wow. Did I just say that out loud?
Wait, do you have Winnie the Pooh's playbook? What's going on?
Wow. Yeah. Let's spread it around the globe quickly. I don't know. The world is, we were talking about this coming in, Matt, and we're going to talk about the markets. And we got a great guest today, Ian from Edge Clear, to demo their Edge Clear Pro new trading software front end. Edge Clear IB out of Chicago. Anyway, Matt, like you don't even have to counter any of the narratives because they're so ridiculous on their own. Like they keep saying shit. People keep saying shit that you're like, I mean, how about Shamat saying, I'm sorry, the Uyghurs, it's under my radar line. Like, I don't give a shit. I mean, could you be more obtuse? Could there be a more obtuse
especially especially when you're an immigrant yourself and you've been lucky enough to win the lottery? I mean, come on, dude.
Wow. Like I say, you don't even have to say anything. You just let them keep talking. And now we got Hawaii saying,
or how about, we were talking about this. How about Hawaii coming on today and say, if you don't have 4 boosters, we don't want you.
Which brings me, Matt, all of these things, cartoons are the best. The tide is turning. There's a lot more people looking for info on the New World Order agenda, World Economic Forum, than info on getting your 4th booster now. It's just playing out. Like you don't even. We've been talking about ambiguity. Let's just call it ambiguity. We've been talking ambiguity for a while.
Ad nauseum, probably.
And we've been talking about how price discovery always shows up, and that's the more important thing to talk about. All right. So with the 4th booster, Matt, why don't we, while we wait for Ian here, why don't we look at Moderna, because there's price discovery around this. With people not wanting to get in that other line, it shows up in the price.
Yeah. Well, bring on
Moderna.
We have been talking about it, and we were talking about, excuse me. We were talking about how, it's hanging around 200, and when 200 goes next time, it's going to go to 185. Well, the low today, 187.26. And again, every single rally, this is the short-term chart, 197 held on Friday. Not so well today, down here again, 187s. So Bob, this is $60. This is 25% from last Monday. That little rally we had, so we've sold off 25% now in 5 days ago. You want to look at the big picture again. I was looking at this morning and I posted it in the room. We're just beginning to come into value on a longer term chart. And it's easy to see on a daily that we are heading probably most likely to 50 to 125 bucks. And why do I say that? Well, it's because we're again getting into this zone where there's really, I mean, what is left? I mean, if you've read some of the news over the weekend about how this mRNA is possibly causing cancer in the future, because of some of the receptors that the body naturally has to fight off cancer cells, this stuff is killing, and they knew it. When this stuff starts leaking to the public, no pun intended on the leaky, but I mean,
leaky jab, leaky public.
Yeah, I mean, it's really scary that some of the stuff and some of the studies that were done, by the way, before, and they just said, you know what, we're not going to look at that. And so, yeah, we're getting into this zone, Bob, where this thing is getting pretty scary to me. And I just, I don't know what's going on. I think you're kind of frozen. I might be frozen. I don't know who's in.
No, I don't think so, man.
Okay. Well,
I don't think so. Why don't you stop sharing?
It's frozen on my end. So I'm going to.
There we go.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to admit, if you would do me a favor and allow Ian to be a co-host, that'd be fantastic. And let's bring him on. Edge Clear out of Chicago. Ian connecting, waiting on Ian. Couldn't be more true, Matt, that listen, we've said it forever doing these broadcasts, right? MarketVitals.io, Market Vitals, the stream, that me and you both have opinions, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong. But at the end of the day, the only thing important is how is it tradable? That's the important thing. Mm-hmm. How is it tradable? Mm-hmm. All right, Ian. We have bad connections, or is Ian got a bad connection?
No, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Ian. How about a
Excellent.
video? You got any video?
I do, but I'm in a weird spot in this office where you're going to see about 6 other guys and their computers.
Are they? Not a problem. Matt, have you made Ian a co-host?
I have. Yep. He should be able to show.
All right, Ian, listen, why don't you introduce yourself and Edge Clear, and you can share your screen as soon as you're ready to do that. And let's talk about Edge Clear. What is the trading front end called?
It's called Edge Pro X.
Edge Pro X. I love it. Edge Pro X.
Yes.
Just give us a little background about Edge Clear, and then share your screen and the trading front end.
Absolutely. So hopefully you guys are able to see my screen now, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. So real quick, just to make compliance happy, I know that everyone's aware, hopefully, but if not, derivatives trading carries a high degree of risk. It may not be suitable for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results. We always stress that here at Edge Clear. If you have any questions on risk, leverage, futures trading, contact us. I'm happy to discuss that because it is hugely important. I'm sure you guys talk about that as well, but just to be aware of your risk and what you're putting on the products you're trading, all of that. So going into this, I wrote down a little agenda, but we can hop right into a little bit about Edge Clear and what is Edge Pro X. Edge Pro X, simply put, as you mentioned, Robert, is our front-end software. So what we did is actually we built a program on the bones of an existing platform, a platform that we felt was pretty rock solid as far as its technical capabilities and what it was going to be able to offer our traders. And everything we do here at Edge Clear is trader inspired. So if we're moving forward with it, that means that either myself or our founder, Morad, or one of the brokers here has tested it, traded on it, used it, and we feel very comfortable moving forward with that option. So Edge Pro X is $34.99 a month. And it includes everything that's listed here on this slide and much more. So you've got volume profiling, you have 300 plus studies and indicators, essentially anything that anyone has up on a chart that you might be looking for. Edge Pro X probably has it. And if we don't have it, then we can add it to a feature request list and hopefully build it. It's meant to be an all-in-one solution for active traders. So what that means is, this isn't going to be like I want to chart 10 years back and look at, the movements of a certain product. You might need to throw something else into your mix for that. But what this does allow you to do is it allows you to get those volume profiles, TPOs, long-term charting up to an extent and get it all at a pretty competitive price of $34.99 a month. It also has an advanced dome as well for all of you guys who like to click in trades on the depth of market. This is just a little bit more into what it offers. You can do replays. You can simulate trading directly from within the software. It's got a heat map if anyone's into that, offers cross-instrument trading if you prefer to look at some minis or full-size products and trade on the micro products of that. And then it's got a time and sales and some of your classic indicators and things like that that we have. I will pull the platform up in a minute, but just in case for those who are unaware of what EdgeClear actually is, we're an independent introducing futures brokerage. Basically what that means is we are our own group and we clear through several firms. We're not tied to one clearing firm. You do still need a clearing firm to make sure that your trades are going through to the exchange, but we're happy to work with traders and find you the best solution for your needs and goals. So if you contact us, we can hook you up with exactly what you're looking for. And we are created by traders for traders. Simply put, our objective is to simplify access to markets through outstanding broker services and solutions. Everything that we do, as I said earlier, is trader inspired. We combine the risk, the best of technology, service, risk control, and all of that into a brokerage firm. And that was kind of our objective when we set out to make EdgeClear. So I will get to our contact at the end of this for questions or support. But I did want to pull the platform up if everyone's ready for it and take a look at it.
Let's kick the wheels.
Absolutely. So this is what I've done is actually reset to our default workspace. So if anyone takes a trial of this software, this is basically what's going to load up as soon as you look at it. So we've got a heat map here, which is kind of like, if you've ever seen something out there like Bookmap or some of those other programs, this software does offer out a heat map that you can link to mirror the depth of market, right? So if I scroll up and down on my depth of market to the right there, it actually moves the heat map up and down, and I can see areas of large resting orders. And you can basically filter this out for large trades and make it as big and small as you want just by navigating to the heat map settings. Any technical questions, again, I will have our contact information back on the PowerPoint. I'm happy to answer those. We've got a ton of walkthrough videos as well on YouTube, and we have a huge support center. I just wanted to give an overview. I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time.
Right on, man. No, yeah.
Cool. The next tab that opens up is a point and figure order flow chart. This is actually a volume imprint chart, as some people call it, where you're getting bid ask numbers that show across like this, right? So, filled 85 on the ask here. You can see areas of imbalance, and this is just a 1x8 point and figure on the ES. Again, all of this is customizable. Our default workspace was meant to highlight some of what we felt were the cooler features, especially for a $34.99 a month platform that come out of the box with EdgeClear. We're not doing any sort of ad hoc, you have to pay $40 a month to add this thing in or that. It all comes out of the box, right? So this is, again, just a volume imprint. Everything that I open up is going to have a depth of market to the right as well that you can toggle on and off. You have bracket order functionality, then you can custom build brackets and execution strategies. And there's a ton that you can actually do in the dome as well, as far as what the price column is showing and what you're seeing as far as volume, bid ask counts, your order entries. You can change the default hotkeys for order entries on the dome. It's pretty slick in that regard. This is probably a more familiar space, this active window, to what a lot of traders have looked at before. 15-minute bar chart. We have a volume profile there on the right. All of these studies are very customizable, so I can actually open up the settings for this and change the display. I can set a max width to it so that profile is not taking up so much space on my end. And what I've got running into this right now is the Rhythmic data feed. So you'll actually notice that I'm getting market by order data all the way up and down the dome right now, which is pretty cool as well. And then, this is pretty standard stuff, right? You've got a volume profile. You can align it whichever way you want on the actual chart. I can put that over to the right side of the chart if I want to. And that's pretty much what's included, again, by default here within the software. So this is your 15-minute. Of course, there's different bar types offered as well. You can set up Renko charts. You can do TPO charts, which is another tab down here, which is going to show you that TPO, if you expand it out, you'll actually see the letters. I don't really use much TPO myself, but for those that do, This will give you that again right out of the box, and it's going to go right down to our current price there. You can see the letters and all of that. Yeah, you can actually merge. I know that this is actually a feature that some platforms you have to pay $200 to $300 a month to do. You can actually merge these with previous profiles as well. If you right click on it, you can bring them together with previous profiles, make one big composite, which is pretty cool as well. If you want to get an overview of how the market's been doing, obviously this is all on a daily basis. So if I wanted to merge 10 days or 15 days together, I could, which is pretty neat. And then the last tab that comes by default is just this overview page, right? So you've got your bonds, your indices on the top here, gold, silver, your currencies down here. And that's all, as you can see, the crosshair kind of mimics the time frame you're looking at across all the charts there.
New lows on the bonds here, by the way.
Yep. Yeah, it's a whole lot of red today. If you're looking at this,
you mentioned a little bit of automated. Is there some automation on entrance and exit?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not, I wish that I could come in here and say, hey, if I want to do, something where I just kind of program out my entire strategy to take my entries and exits. So you still have to click in your entry order, but you can do brackets. Okay. By default, it's going to load up with some pretty simple brackets, right? If I turn this on, it's just going to give me a 1-point target and stop on here. And then if I click that in, you can actually see it on the chart as well. You can turn that off too if you're someone who doesn't like to see that, like me. But you can leave those on as well. And that's your basic bracket that comes by default. But it's pretty slick. You can actually edit the bracket settings. And you can make this, you can make as many as you want. If you're trading different markets, I tend to have mine labeled by market because it'll obviously, if I'm trading the ES, that has a different structure than if I'm trading the Russell or the NASDAQ or something like that. And you can add as many targets and stops as you want, right? So if I want to make this 4, you can actually adjust how many contracts are getting taken off on a percentage basis. And I can have different targets, right? I can have a 20-tick target, 30-tick target. We're just doing basic stuff for simplicity's sake here, and 40 ticks. And I can go back, and now what you'll see, if I go up to 4 contracts here.
You better be a fucking seller. Excuse my French.
I will. I'll hit the sell here. So what you can see is, and even if I do a market, right, you've got your bracket in there now.
Nice.
There's your stop, and then here's your targets all down the ladder as well. Something that we did custom build into this, man, I hate when the orders show on the chart like that. We're gonna get rid of that. Is you'll see this yellow line here. That's called the Edge Pro line. It's actually a custom tool that we built. And if you see, we just hit a target. If you want to have this on, what it will do is actually show you basically where your theoretical average entry price for that contract is, right? So yes, I sold at 71.75.
Already a winner.
Exactly. But my actual average now is all the way, it's already moved up because we hit one of my targets. So that's a custom built tool from EdgeClear that will show you that, if you're someone who likes to do a lot of averaging in, averaging out to know where your theoretical break-even price is on the trade, then that line will actually start to track that, right? If I were to move this up and take another one off here at market, that line moves up again.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. It does the math for you.
Exactly.
Matt, did you have a question?
No, I was just raising my hand because I like to average in, average out.
Yeah, exactly. There you go, Matt. So this is useful. I mean, I know for me, especially if I'm getting into the micros, I'm not someone who's going to go all in and all out at one single price. So I will be using this tool quite a bit if I'm on those products, because I might be looking to get 6 or 10 lots on and in a range, right? Like it's obviously very hard to be a perfect one-shot trader, so it's a little bit nicer.
I'm with you. I think it's the best way to trade, range bound and wide. Yeah,
exactly. So we just of course you're right. We were sellers, and this is working out. But generally speaking,
listen, man, we're big on karma here at Market Vitals.
Yeah.
Hey. Please tell me this wasn't the paper account, and you owe us a steak. You owe us a steak.
I'll still get you the steak, but this was the paper account.
All right, Ian. Matt, any questions?
Robust. I mean, fantastic looking program. I mean, I can see, again, so many bells and whistles, but you can really, I think what I like about it is you can really containerize it down to whatever it is that is important to you, whether it's the dome, whether it's the profile, whether it's volume, whether it's DPO, and you can switch around easily on the fly, on the custom. I mean, those are some really solid tools.
Yeah, and I will say this, Matt, my actual workspace, I mentioned I loaded up our default workspace. My actual workspace is much more simplified than this. I have an overview, but I've got a couple charts, longer term and then shorter, kind of trigger intraday for actual entries.
Yep.
So like you just said, you can really make this tailored to your needs, right? Like I don't use a lot of this imprint stuff, even though I do think it's cool. I don't personally find it useful to my style of trading.
Right.
So I don't have this up in mind. I've got a pretty simplistic setup that's more akin to something like this versus all of that, the other bells and whistles. But again, at $34.99 a month, like I'm not complaining that,
Right.
it's a good price point as well.
What I'm just curious, what trends are you guys seeing in the industry? It seems like a lot of people have come over to profile over the last 5,
Sure.
6 Jim Dalton did a great job, obviously, as the grandfather, but I think too many people get caught up into the minutia. I heard you say it. I don't really care about counting and lettering. That's not, TPO is not important to me. But I'm just curious. Overall, what are you seeing in the business? What are you seeing, trend wise that maybe enlighten us what you may be seeing, what changes, how are people looking at things?
Sure, absolutely. I think the thing that gets thrown out, well, it's been for a couple of years now, but it's still really getting hammered on is the actual order flow. Again, it's not really my style, and I, anybody who wants to go explore a certain new style of trading, absolutely. As you guys know, like this is a lot of trial and error for people to find something that's going to match their personality, a setup that's going to work for them. What's their risk tolerance? What type of risk are you putting on? But these days, and this is part of why we put it in our default workspace, a lot of this information, the order flow, is what you're seeing people sort of move towards and gravitate to. Is where are these big orders, where are they getting pulled off, how are they getting pulled off of the depth of market, are we going to get down to this 45 65 area and then this big resting order is going to get ripped off, or is it going to stay there and absorb some of that action?
Right.
That's one of the things that I still see a lot of, is that order flow discussion and how that all plays into it. The other side of things I would say is, you do get people who are, the kind of longer term approach, I guess, which is what I like, and I've personally found it works for me, is not really dying out, but you don't find as many people taking that, or if they are, they'd rather get that information from someone else and then go in and trade on their, Fortick Renko or whatever it is. And again, nothing wrong with that. But I don't find as much that people want to go pay, the $200, $300 a month for a really heavy long-term analysis software.
Right.
And they would rather look at breakdowns on an intraday basis, something like this with, you've got your profile to the right here, and then you've got it for the prior day, and you kind of just look at that. But, my style has always been less so of this, because I've tried to trade this way, and I know people who can make this way work.
Yeah.
But I just get caught up in the numbers here,
Yeah.
I see yeah.
Personally, I find it too noisy, but
Yeah, exactly.
And we've talked about it forever here, that the only trading system is your trading system.
Yep.
It has to become personalized, and that's what I like about front ends that offer you the flexibility to really figure out what works for you.
Exactly. It's truly, that's what it is. And again, if you are someone who likes the order flow approach to things, it has it. And if you aren't, you can get rid of it.
Right.
You can get rid of it as simple as closing out this window here. There you go. It's gone.
All right. And the other thing I was telling Matt as we came in, what I found with Edge Pro, and to be clear, I am an Edge Clear customer. I don't have this trading front end just yet. But from coming from the floor, for me, it's incredibly important to have a personal relationship with somebody that you can call, email, and talk to, and not just a helpline or a customer service line. And you guys are doing a great job of putting that niche out there that as a former floor trader, I just expected that there would be somebody that I could talk to, that I could develop a relationship with, that I would know personally, instead of, the macro shops where you're just a number.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's something that we've always strived towards. Max and I, who couldn't make it on today, but he's our director of brokerage services. We've worked in this industry for quite a while now. I mean, not relative to some other people w'ho've been around a long time.
You don't have to call me an old man, but that's okay.
Not you, Robert. But we're brought into the industry and always strive to forge good relationships with our traders. And again, like you said, not just be that place where you open the account, you get assigned, the lowest possible margin in the world, and then your number that we hope clicks as much as possible until adios, goodbye. If we're going to get to know you, I want to get to know you, have you around long term, come up with solutions that fit your needs. And that's part of the reason that we did create Edge products, but it's also part of the reason that, we still offer out other front ends as well. It's not for everybody. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is the end all be all platform. I think it's good. I think it's a good all-in-one solution. And, but because we have that personal relationship and direct contact and people you can call and talk to, we can come up with solutions that work for just about anybody's needs, which is awesome. And it also keeps our traders around a long time and, allows us to forge those relationships that otherwise you might not get.
All right, Ian, fantastic job. And we really appreciate you stopping by. And
of course, thank you for having me. And if you did, anyone who has any questions, let me get back into presenter mode here. You can absolutely reach out to me or EdgeClear. We have a support center. This is direct for platform questions, edgeprox@edgeclear.com. And then this is our direct phone line as well. So, anything that comes up, if you want to come in and, reference market vitals, whatever it is, I'm happy to take care of you and we'll get you set up with what you need.
Yeah, please. Hey, everybody out there, go talk to Max and Ian at Edge Clear. Thank you so much, Ian.
Of course. Thanks for having me. And you guys have a great rest of the day.
And tell them that Bob and Matt sent you for sure. So we get the steak when we get to
Absolutely.
Chicago.
You have to come to Chicago so I can get you the steak.
Absolutely. I can't wait.
All
right, Ian. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Of course. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye.
Fantastic.
All right, Matt, where else are we going here? Let's talk a little bit about the NFL, Matt. We need to talk about the NFL because we talked coming in.
Yep.
San Francisco going to the Packers.
Yeah.
Matt, the game saw Sunday night. The high for Sunday in Green Bay is supposed to be 13 degrees. If the 49ers aren't on a plane right now to the coldest place on the planet that they can find logistically, which is probably Montana, North Dakota.
Bismarck.
Go to North Dakota State, practice on their outdoor field.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe they're, D1 team. Didn't they just, one of those Dakota teams just made it to the finals, maybe even won. I don't even know. But they should maybe get them to warm up with them or something, just so they can practice hitting some.
Because coming from the Bay and then going to 7 degrees, I don't care what you tell me, man. It is not. You can't prepare for it. That's why you should go play. You should be running around in it for 4. Believe me, if they were running around in it for 5 days, right? Sunday night's going to seem a lot nicer than if they just go over there and spend a day or so there.
It's interesting. All 4 of the games next weekend are really tight. Like there's no line bigger than 6. The Packers are the heavy favorite at 6. I mean, which makes sense. It's going to be a kind of a, run tight pass type game. And Tennessee's 3.5 over the Bengals. Also Saturday. So those are your Saturday games. And then you have the Rams +3 against Tampa Bay at Tampa Bay. And then the Bills traveling to the loudest NFL stadium. Well, I would always put it between, personally, KC and Green Bay. Those places rock, dude. Their fans are something. And the acoustics must be, but those 2 stadiums particularly are like, this time of year. They're loud. And KC's only a 2-point favorite over the Bills. Everybody, my kids like the Bills. I still don't buy the story, but
I got to tell you, man, that our bet last week, we were wrong on both ends, right? Was Pittsburgh the money line and
KC covered.
Oh yeah, KC covered, so we were a scratch.
No, we won. Yeah, because you don't bet 1-1, you bet 5-1.
Let me just tell you something. That game, like I legitimately thought for what the first quarter and then up to like 4 minutes to go in the half that the Steelers had a chance.
Well, but I went and watched it with my youngest son and his two buddies. They all had their Steeler gear on. They're Steeler fans, and we went and watched it down at the sidelines. And it was half and half. Half the downstairs was all Steeler, or downstairs was KC. We were upstairs with the Steelers fans. And JJ Watt scoring that touchdown was huge, right? Or TJ.
Yeah, I mean, they looked solid, and then they put up 21 in 3 minutes. They're like, okay.
And then their defense was gone, and they had and then Big Ben just looked like he was retired already.
Well, he is retired now, yeah.
No, but he looked like he didn't want to win last week too.
All right, Matt, let's jump back into the market for a second. Let me share, because I want to share just a little nuance. As we have a new week here, and obviously things are getting schmeezed.
Yeah, we're on the lows of the day.
At the lows of the day, but I want to point something out, because it's going to take a while here. This is the NASDAQ, and I just want to point out that the slope here on the lower momentum level has not turned south yet, but it's very close to doing that, right? And in the SPOOs, the same thing on the weekly.
I was going to say you're talking longer term. You're talking longer term to get to those.
I'm talking way longer. All I'm telling you, though, I mean, this whole run up from the lows of 20, right? We've had positive slope to the standard deviation lines, right? And then the Dow, everybody's toying with lower momentum here, by the way, all four indices. The Dow's actually got a little kick down now, and if they close the week in this lower momentum level, very negative. But the one that I wanted to really point out, and we've been hammering this for a while now, is the Russell. And so two things. We're still kind of like we're toying with this low end of the bracket that we've talked about forever, right? And that's 230 points wide, let's call it. Let's do a little math. So 2,100, if we give this away, first of all, we have the falling away potential on the standard deviation line, right? We got a slope to the momentum line, negative. And so this just does not look healthy. Like if you're hoping on another Russell glorified year, this push up here, which was just as you pointed out, just a throw over from the bracket that it just came right back into. I mean, we got 1870 as my count, Matt, that we should go test just on fulfilling that. I mean, give me your thoughts.
Let me give you a look at the daily, because we've been talking about the Russell all year of 2021, how it was in a bracket. And sure enough, we are still right at the bottom of that bracket. And here's a good picture of it. I love this picture of it, because we're right here again at 2090. And if we break through this, Bob, honestly, we could go. You're saying 19. What do you say?
1870 is just a mirror of that bracket.
Oh, sure. You mean the width? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
350 and that's 250 points. So
1850, call it right on.
Yeah. So we'll call it 1650 or so, which again, I see it more down in here. 1650. This is where it could go. Don't forget this. This was a huge run up that we had. From late October of 20 up until the early quarter of 21. Right. That was a huge move. 1420. That was to 2,400,000 points basically. And then we tested it here the last time. That test and the time that you've spent here trapping people now, well over a year of a massive trap set. And so when that starts to come to fruition and breaks down and closes under here, and again, we haven't closed under here yet, and this is a daily chart, but you start showing 1, 2, 3 closes under here, and we're going to go see that 1650 for sure.
Matt, another thing that was shared, and my response to it was, that's like the 58th reason why you should be short this market. And we've been beating this drum for 6 months and not been right, by the way, thinking that this market is stopping. And
Well, no, hold on.
60, the amount of retail investment dollars flowing in 20 and 21 is 7x that of 2019. Like an insane amount of money has jumped into this market at ridiculous valuations.
and gotten trapped.
And and they are trapped. And so you got that. You got the insiders at an 8x level selling versus buying. You got we've probably gone through 5 or 6 different charts, fundamental charts of why this stuff is ridiculous at these levels. Yet we've been saying it for 6 months, and we haven't really rolled over.
However, individual stock wise, with the exception of the big dogs, 50% of the NASDAQ is just half off already. So if you're sleeping and stocks like Roblex, all these stocks, Lulu's off. I mean, you pick a name, CMG, CRM. We can go on and on. I mean, there's a ton of right-sided action already. The only thing that's left is the big dogs that are propping up, the index. We know 5 names makes up 80% of the NASDAQ. 2,000 names in the Russell. A lot of these small caps have been throttled, but there's still a ton. I mean, shit, Bob, you still have AMC. I mean, let's look at it because we haven't talked about AMC and GME. You want to see this happening, and it's happening right here. Like these guys are still hoping for the massive, the short squeeze. What do they call it? The short squeeze of all time, whatever they call it, squat or something, whatever. This thing's going back to zero, people. AMC is dead. Nobody goes to the movies. Dead. GME, I'm sorry, Reddit bros, but you're losing. You've been losing for over a year, and you're going to continue to lose. It's going to get ugly. I mean, look at this GME, almost under 100 again. Remember, it's going to go back to 40. I mean, it's traded here right away after that initial blow off. It's going to go back there for sure. Once it goes there, it's going back here to 5. Once it goes there, it's going to.
It's guaranteed, probably.
I mean, just look at the chart. It's just going. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Last thing I need to share.
Okay.
And that is Lee's tempeh tacos. Cut up brown sugar, the manja rub, the shrimp mojo, cut up brown sugar. I will say one thing here. And then he said it was a little salty. And I think it was a little salty because you diced your tempeh too small. Lee, what I'm trying to tell you right now in the shrimp mojo segment of the stream is that there should be bigger chunks of tempeh, i.e., then you have less rub on them. The rub doesn't have a large salt profile to begin with, but man, do those things look good. Tempeh tacos, dude, with the shrimp mojo cut 50-50 with brown sugar. Forget about it, man. And you had a beautiful pesto plate last night. I'm a little suspect of the plate that you use. I don't know what's going on there.
It's funny because they're flowers. I mean, it's funny that you fucking you're such
a that in the evening edition.
You're such a perv that you found that.
Sorry, I blew up.
I mean, anyway. you're like an 8th grade kid with the
no, it's 5th grade seating chart. Yeah, I did that too, right? Jimmy McFarland, for sure, he got one. All right, Matt, thanks so much. Thank you to Ian at Edge Clear. Please, if you're looking for customer service at a IB, highly recommend Edge Clear. I am a customer, to be perfectly clear. Matt, you have a great day.
Thank you, Bobby. As always, you too.
Right on.